Hi and welcome back to Man vs Film. I'm your host Graham and this is a top 10 of movies that you can watch right now on Amazon Prime UK for the month of August 2019. And let's just jump into this list. Number 10. The House. Scott and Kate Johnson are elated to discover their daughter Alex has been accepted into Bucknell University. However, the town college scholarship programme refuses to fund any more tuitions. Out of options, the couple makes an executive decision to open an underground illegal casino in their friend Frank's basement. Ultimately, the authorities soon become suspicious. Now what? Will Ferrell comedies are a bit of a hit and miss. Thankfully, this one's got an added boost thanks to Jason Mantzoukas, who is a terrifically frank and comedic actor, someone I really enjoy. This looked as if it was going to be a typical comedy, and to a certain extent it is, but the laugh ratio is pretty high. I thought this was really entertaining. It's one that I've watched a couple of times because I just like the interplay between the three main characters. I love the kind of funny story and especially the climax to where it goes, and it's some pretty wacky places, but I think this is a comedy you're going to enjoy. Number 9, Drive. A mysterious man who has multiple jobs as a garage mechanic, a Hollywood stuntman and a getaway driver seems to be trying to escape his shady past. As he falls for his neighbour, whose husband is in prison and who's looking after her child alone, our hero gets more than he bargained for when he meets the man who is married to the woman he loves. Drive is a terrific movie. It's not perfect. It is a fantastic masterpiece, from a terrific score to terrific actors portraying in this amazing movie. Nicholas Winding Refn shoots the hell out of this thing. It is exciting, it is haunting, it is visceral, and it stays with you long after the movie has left. I think Ryan Gosling gives a terrific standout performance here in a career where he's gave some amazing performances. And of course, it's got a VIP in the form of Carey Mulligan, who gives this understated but terrifically on point portrayal of this woman that he is falling for. It's a great story, a great movie, highly recommended. Number 8, Blood and Bone. An ex-con takes an underground fighting world by storm in his quest to fulfill a promise to a friend who has passed away. Blood and Bone is a direct-to-video action movie, and it's one of those movies that I really have a lot of time for. I wanted countless sequels which I never got, and I think it all rests on the shoulders of Michael Jai White, who is the main protagonist here. I love his fights, I love the variety of them, and although some of them you can see they're not great and the punches are pulled and they're not quite landing, it's the sheer energy that is within this story, this familiar tale, that just drives it forward for me. If you're looking to disengage the brain, check out an action fighting movie. This one is going to tick all your boxes. Number 7, Final Exam. A group of typical college students prepare for the end of the school year and the exams to come. Little do they know that they are the object of desire for a murderous stalker who is just waiting to pounce when they least expect it. You probably know by now that I love my slasher movies, and if I can, I'll try and squeeze one into this list. Final Exam is one that I've just recently discovered, and it's not the best slasher of all time. It suffices. It ticked my boxes of what I wanted. Gave me a masked killer, gave me victims to be picked off one by one, and gave me a completely pointless and unanswered reveal of who the killer was. It's fun in the journey of getting from A to B, to picking out who's going to die. It's short, it's punchy. If you like slasher movies, Final Exam's for you. Number 6, Eat Locals. In a quiet countryside farmhouse, Britain's vampires gather for their once every 50 years meeting. Others will be joining them too. Sebastian Crockett, an unwitting Essex boy who thinks he's on a promise with a sexy cougar Vanessa, and a detachment of Special Forces vampire killers who have bitten off more than they can chew. This is certainly going to be a night to remember, and for some, it will be their last. Eat Locals is a low-budget British movie. Don't hold that against it. It's not as bad as some of the other ones. It's pretty fun. It's got some familiar faces in this who you will immediately recognise. I like the idea of Britain being almost carved up by these vampires into territories, and they meet up to discuss the next 50 years of business, how they're going to go about feeding the policies of creating new vampires and farming the humans when all things go awry. It gets bloody, it gets violent, and it is so much fun. A kind of unexpected British treat. Number 5, Going in Style. Three seniors who have been wronged by the company they work for 30 years are living social security check to check, decide that they've had enough, so they plan to rob the bank that is taking their pension money. Joe Harding, a man who lives with his daughter and granddaughter, who which he has a strong relationship, is having trouble with his mortgage. The problem is, they don't know how to handle a gun. This was one of those movies that I wrote off seeing the trailer. Yep, I know exactly what I'm getting, not interested. I ended up watching it one night out of lack of options, and I found something that was rather endearing, rather enjoyable. The best thing about it is it's a really good heist movie, with a heist that baffled me. I didn't see the twists and turns, how they were going to get away with it, how they were going to break free of this, terrifyingly bad megalomaniacal bank that was taking all their money. You've got some great performers in this as well, who really are engaged in giving a good performance, and this comes across in this really good, if ultimately forgettable, comedy movie. Number 4, Ninja Assassin. Trained since childhood to be a lethal killer, Reizo has since turned his back on the Ozuru clan that raised him, and now seeks revenge for their heartless murders. Teaming up with Europol investigator Mika, Reizo steadily butchers the enemies while inching ever closer to the long-awaited bloody reunion with his former master. This movie has a plot. It's rather formulaic and it does cover all the bases in going from A to B, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the extremely bloody R-rated carnage that this movie delivers. You get a super cool protagonist, and you get maniacal bad guys that you want to see slain in various ways. And of course, you throw in ninjas into the mix and you've got the making of a terrific action movie. And this one goes bloody places that I was so thankful it did. It's silly, but it's so much fun. Number 3, Wonder Woman. Diana, Princess of the Amazons, trained to be an unconquerable warrior, raised on a sheltered island paradise when a pilot crashes on their shores and tells of a massive conflict raging in the outside world. Diana leaves her home, convinced she can stop the threat. Fighting alongside man in a war to end all wars, Diana will discover her full powers and her full destiny. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman when it first came out. The only issue, if any, I had with it was the finale, where it is really two superpowered, almost toys battling against each other. CGI creations that don't quite look great, and kind of robs the movie a little bit of a lot of power that it has. This is a movie that kind of comments on some of the silly facts about superhero movies, that has the sort of role reversal of the male-female characters, where the male is now the kind of love-lorn sidekick and the hero is the strong femme fatale who does not need the man to help her, but who can do things on her own. And we get some terrific set pieces in this movie as well. I think my favourite is still the trench scene where she starts to unleash her powers in this war setup. It's terrific. It's a fantastic superhero movie and one of the better DC movies. Number 2, Dunkirk. 400,000 British and French soldiers are holed up in the French port town of Dunkirk. The only way out is VC, and the Germans have air superiority, bombing the British soldiers and ships without much opposition. The situation looks dire, and in desperation, Britain sends civilian boats in addition to its hard-pressed navy to evacuate the beleaguered forces. This is that story. Christopher Nolan's fantastic World War II movie incorporates various different stories, almost touching on little characters, often as it goes round in a circle, messing about with time as it does so. It does it in such a strange way that you don't really realise what's happening until the end of the movie. It is in your face, it is visceral, it is exciting, it's very atmospheric, and it tells a great story of a horrible time during the war, of which there was many. The one thing it kind of lacks, and this is a little criticism, is an emotional core, someone to latch on to, a main character to drive the story forward. But in favour of that, we touch on several characters, some who survive, some who don't, some who get out of this easily, some who get out of it carrying a lot of baggage. So it touches on various different characters, all running the gamut of various emotions. I really do like Dunkirk. Number 1, The House That Jack Built. We follow a highly intelligent Jack over a span of 12 years, and we are introduced to the murders that define Jack's development as a serial killer. We experience the story from Jack's point of view, while he postulates each murder as an artwork in itself, and the inevitable police intervention is drawing nearer. He is taking greater and greater risks in his attempt to create the ultimate artwork. Along the way we experience Jack's descriptions of his personal condition, problems and thoughts, through a reoccurring conversation with the unknown Verge, a grotesque mixture of childlike self-pity and psychopathic explanations. The House That Jack Built is a terrific movie. It's about 2.5 hours in length, and it basically covers the span of a serial killer from the time he starts killing to the time that he stops. In his own words, he is an unstable narrator giving his own point of view on why he did the things that he does in this movie, and they're kind of blunt and matter of fact, the way he begins to kill people, to it becoming something more of a hobby, of a desire, and his way of explaining the things seems almost plausible at certain times until you realise he's a psychopath and it's his warped sensibilities that are described in this story. It is filmed in such a fantastic way that it feels almost documentarian in the way that it is presented, the way it sort of lingers about this character as he makes mistakes and as he luckily escapes and evades the police force. This is a terrific movie. No one really talks about it, which is a real shame because I love this film. I want you to go and check it out. So there we have it, 10 fantastic movies for you to check out this August on Amazon Prime UK. I hope you find something there that you're going to love, something that you can rave about, talk about, or maybe discover an old classic that you haven't thought about in a while. I'd love it if you'd let your comments in the comment box below of your thoughts on the movies, the list. Have I missed anything? Is there something I should have had on there? Let me know and I'll get back to you. As always, if you haven't done so, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.